allow the children. It's okay. It's okay. Off your mind. It's okay. She off your mind.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go summer us, call them hate speech. But fear not, Mayegun don't come. Him go torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we loud, oh, yo. Mayegun don't come, oh, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo. Mayegun don't come, oh, yo. Mayegun don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo. Mayegun don't come, oh, yo. Mayegun diary politico, yo. Mayegun don't come, oh, yo. This one not the off in mind, oh, yo. Mayegun don't come, oh, yo. Can in the touchlight every corner, oh, yo. Mayegun don't come, oh, yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai. Them be promise us say we go get light and power. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day dollar just they get the higher power over naira. See them talk say make we off mind. But thank God say Mayegun don't come. So my people make you loud, oh, yo. Mayegun don't come, oh, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo. Mayegun don't come, oh, yo. Mayegun don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo. Mayegun don't come, oh, yo. Mayegun diary politico, oh, yo. Mayegun don't come, oh, yo. This one not they off in mind, oh, yo. Mayegun don't come, oh, yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Mayegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say Mayegun don't come. So my people make you loud, oh, yo. Mayegun don't come, oh, yo. My people make you shout, oh, yo. Mayegun don't come, oh, yo. Man of the masses.
Oh dear.
Mayegun la wa mo la mo do.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Mayegun la wa mo la mo do.
Mayegun diary.
Mayegun today, oh,
morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun diary,
Thank you so much for joining me once again. And as you are joining, please share the broadcasts. Okay? Invite your friends. Invite your not so friendly friends. And tell them that Mayegun today, it is Sunday. Therefore, it is Sunday sermon. Read the caption of the broadcast. Read the description of the broadcast. Share it, like it, subscribe if you haven't done that already. Sit back, relax, and then enjoy.
Ani esunraki.
Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú esunraki.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ani esunraki.
Mayegun ti dé.
CORNFESSOR Soyinka is back again.
Lórí YouTube.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ani esunraki.
Mayegun ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Mayegun máa wí.
Ani esunraki.
Internet ideology is brewing illiterate generation. CORNFESSOR Soyinka. Is 100% in support of social media regulation. CORNFESSOR Soyinka. Unexpectedly, those who participated in the charade from Bayelsa to Imo to Kogi, they've all rejected the outcome, at least. Today, good morning to you once again, and good afternoon to you, good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. It is Mayegun Live, and if you check your time, it is the Sunday Sermon O'Clock, a segment that we kind of love to remind everyone that it is a no holds bar session. And if you are going to be part of it, you are kind of advised to put aside your political correctness, and every other sort of a blackmailing tool that you have in your toolbox. You will need to keep them out, or else most of what I'm going to say, or what other people are going to say, are really going to trigger you if you have a very thin, if you have a very thin skin. It's just a simple caveat, and I will try my best to make sure that the message is not lost on you or on any of us. So that's why you have to, take a deep breath, like, and then you listen. So the writer for this broadcast was from CORNFESSOR Soyinka, the man that has a lot to say about those who have stood up against the ruiners of Nigeria of today, but he's got nothing to say about the ruiners, something that has brought him into the consciousness of young people, especially after the charade of February 2023, the killings, the violence, the rigging, and the entire manipulation that happened when he kept quiet until he started talking, and he called those who rejected that process fascists, not those who killed people because they rejected APC. You know what I mean? Like, APC is not fascist. So that dragged the CORNFESSOR out, and a lot of revelation that followed. But since that time, CORNFESSOR Soyinka seems to always have something to say about this generation of young people who are reacting to the leadership provided by people from the CORNFESSOR's generation. So, Baba said, the problem facing Nigeria today is because the young people are not properly brought up. They have no reading culture compared to the time when he was younger and growing up. That the language that young people uses to express themselves on social media in this generation is so alarming that a lot of people who belong to the gutters, they are making opinions about things There is no morality anymore. There is no respect anymore. They just talk like, and you can easily tell the level of illiteracy that the internet has breeded in this generation. And from my own findings, CORNFESSOR Soyinka, like many people, just like other peoples like him, they would love to attack the what do you call it? Is it called the symptom? Abi? And they would leave the real source. They are attacking the product of a failed country, right? But he's not willing to apportion the blame on the source that breeded the failure that breeded this. So he actually put it on the internet, and his solution, regulate social media. Maybe in his words, listen.
Professor Wole Soyinka, are you going to ever stop writing?
You know, I've said enough is enough so many times. I wasn't expecting to write this, for instance, but events and things accumulated in my mind, and then I managed to find some space where I could tackle peace of mind away from the environment which produced it. And so the book came out. So your question is a very important one. I would rather be doing very often many other things far more pleasurable than writing, because writing is not the most pleasurable of activities. So very often it's anguish, very often. But in the end, you've sort of purged yourself of accumulated debris. And that, at least, is something which one should continue doing for as long as one is capable of it.
Absolutely. Well, if you ask me, what I took away from that session was what you said about the proliferation of the internet, especially by Nigerians. Why do you feel so strongly about that?
I feel strongly. I see everything of value being debased. Values which I grew up with as a child, and that includes language, by the way, the use of language, appropriate language. When I see a space being infested, the communication space, infested by people of a lower intelligence, integrity, sense of concern, of involvement than existed in the print media. Because always remember that this internet is nothing novel about it. It's enhancement of something you've always been doing before. It's an enhancement of the print medium. And there is a more critical approach to the print medium. The editor sits down, even letters to the editor goes, that particular comes through vetting processes. But now you can have any kind of pig from the gutter who simply because he's got a paw and can therefore put that paw in dirt, in filth, and then imprint it on the nearest surface. That is what internet has begun. And having known better from childhood, all the way through my development, it's abysmal. It's an abysmal stage of one's compelled existence to have to confront things like that. I don't read, but I read things because things are sent to me that link. People will say, you need to see this. You think you've seen the worst, but take a look at this one, this mod. This is what happens these days. And something drastic has to be done about it. And the publishing enterprise has a role to play in this, a huge role to play in this. Maybe we even have to organize a real week-long, month-long seminar across the African continent. So let the garbage at least come from elsewhere. Why should it be coming from my own society?
Yes,
a society that has produced engineers, doctors, valued all over the world. Go to the Arab world, you see Nigerian doctors everywhere. Go to production places, construction sites. Go to NASA. You will see Nigerians there. And yet some garbage, simply because they have access, are now fouling up the total productivity, the complex and ennobling productivity of my society. It burns me up. And I hope I never meet any of them responsible in a dark alley. And I was showing that I can be younger than the 90 years of age.
I'm sure you can.
You see, normally, they would expect us to well, I've seen people, right, who have been, firing him, so, right? But I'm not going to do that. What we're going to do tonight is that tonight we're going to use Professor Abi. Let's use Professor now. Professor Wole Soyinka's ignorance, okay, to also teach others like him. Now, they might find that insulting simply because the generation that failed Nigeria, they are still living on their high horses, irresponsible, irresponsive, and never do well. Bunch of rogues. Now, let's kind of save, or let's give Confessor Soyinka two benefits of the doubt. One, he is an old man, okay? He is a man of the past. And you see this transition to how information are gathered and disseminated, the way they were done in the time of the old, and the way they are being done now. Now, you see that transition for old people like Wole Soyinka, we can say that could be really, really tense. I still have 70, 80 years old people that will never touch smartphones, and they will never even get a bank card. You see that ATM card, they will never ask for one in this day and time because they don't trust them. That transition of how people access information, which information is valid, which one is fake, who are the source of a fake news and fake information. Now, a lot of us have ways of telling fake news. Do you understand? Many of us have ways of telling propaganda news, okay? And a lot of us have ways of verifying real news. Back in the days, right, they had what they call the editors. These were like talking about 19th and 20th century. So we can forgive Confessor Wole Soyinka based on that ignorance, okay? But we can't forgive Confessor Wole Soyinka when we can sense enough hypocrisy. Now, let us explain that, okay? Confessor has a problem with the use of language of young people, like the way they express themselves, okay? Now, without an event, or should they say that? I mean, how do they say that too? Without an action, there will be no counter reaction, positive or negative, right? Now, Confessor, in fact, hang on, I'm going to pick that again. There's a particular one I want to pick from it. Let's go over it again.
Professor Wole Soyinka, are you going to ever stop writing?
I've said enough is enough so many times. I wasn't expecting to write this, for instance, but events and things accumulated in my mind, and then I managed to find some space where I could tackle peace of mind away from the environment which produced it. And so the book came out. So your question is a very important one. I would rather be doing very often many other things far more pleasurable than writing, because writing is not the most pleasurable of activities. So very often it's it's anguish, very, very often. But in the end, you've sort of purged yourself of accumulated debris. And that, at least, is something which one should continue doing for as long as one is capable of it.
Absolutely. Well, if you ask me, what I took away from that session was what you said about the proliferation of the internet, especially by Nigerians. Why do you feel so strongly about that?
I feel strongly. I see everything of value being debased. Values which I grew up with as a child, and that includes language, by the way, use of language, appropriate language. When I see a space being infested, the communication space, infested by people of a lower intelligence, integrity, sense of concern, of involvement than existed in the print media. Because always remember that this internet is nothing novel about it. It's enhancement of something you've always been doing before. It's an enhancement of the print medium. And there is a more critical approach to the print medium. The editor sits down, even letters to the editor goes, that particular comes through.
Like something another. I won't bore you with it. But what I actually wanted to pick out from his earlier statement there was about the space being infested with people of lower intellect. You know what I mean? Lacking morality and the way they talk and all of that stuff. This is him coming at the young people that uses the social media to express their disgusts in the people who are ruining their country. Okay? And that is the generation. Like, during the time of CORNFESSOR Soyinka, when he was a young man, okay, from his history, when it was peace, let's say there was no internet, at least there was none. There was no social media. CORNFESSOR Soyinka, a writer, okay, became sort of inspired by the worldwide revolution that were taking place, including that of Biafra, which later happened. Now, CORNFESSOR Soyinka as a young man, okay, they said, in an election that happened in the western region of Nigeria, okay, that he believed was rigged by the ruling party of the time, single-handedly, armed with a gun, strode straight there, took over a radio station and forced the broadcaster to stop broadcasting the speech of the premier of Western region. And he gave his own speech for them to broadcast. And the broadcast was that that premier did not win any election. And the revolution of blah, 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 they have now taken over the reign of government of Western region. A mini coup that lasted less than 10 minutes from those who kept that history. And he went on in his own way of showing his defiance to social injustice in Nigeria, especially the ones suffered by the students in the hands of their lecturers of that time. It was this same CORNFESSOR Soyinka who put together the first known official court group on Nigerian campus, the first official one. Although he said he didn't put them together as violent group, they put them together as defenders of the oppressed, which means it didn't just went against the establishment during his own young age. If there was social media at that time, probably CORNFESSOR Soyinka would be one of those with the highest followers, the largest followers on earth today, with some of the heroic adventure he had in his own way, right? Rebelling against the system. Now, look at the young people of today. Like I said, there was no social media. Therefore, we couldn't possibly keep track of his, inner thoughts that is probably shared publicly to encourage the young people of that era. I mean, what do you think? Or how do you think CORNFESSOR Wole Soyinka was able to convince students on Nigerian campuses to agree to join a group that will be willing to defend anybody that the system, which was the school system, by any means oppressed? How did you think he managed to convince them? As a revolutionist, as a writer, if it was social media, probably writing letters and posting it to them and all of that stuff, Abi? But he was able to have that to his own record. But look at the young people you have in Nigeria today. The generation that planned coup, the generation that led people into a needless genocide, the generation that plunged the wealth of Nigeria into the abyss of generational waste, the generation that continue to hold Nigeria to ransom today is calling the victims or their victims illiterates that are just, I don't know, the generation that did all this. And that is where we kind of now say, okay, if it is how we talk, or then it says something about, it seems there is no boundary, right? Like the young people of today, they don't see anything or anyone as sacred anymore. And because of that, he believes that comes from the quality of education, okay, that they are getting, but not from the rotten system that has completely destroyed education in Nigeria. The generation that destroyed education, by the way, failed to fund education, all right? That generation is not taking responsibility. Rather, internet, technology is the reasons why we don't have respect anymore. Simply because the access to information today, okay, is no longer, what do you call that? Monopolized by these gatekeepers. Look at the immoral people. Look at corrupt criminals. Look at the certificate forgers, drug pushers, drug dealers, money launderers, kidnappers. Look at these rogues in academia, in science. He was talking about Nigeria having engineers and doctors. Hello, can you tell me what is exact that thing that has been invented either by Nigerian engineer or by Nigeria doctor, or be by Nigerian scientist inside Nigeria? Any research done that has changed the course of the lives of Nigerians or the world in Nigeria by your researchers and the rest of them? You have engineers that cannot build roads. The giant of Africa. You have engineers that cannot generate electricity. And you have universities that are offering certificates in different engineering, civil this, civil that, so that the same people will go and end up working as casual workers in the companies and factories, whatever, owned by Indians, by Pakistanis, by Germans, by all these people who kind of put them in a second way that, I'm just saying, what is actually Nigerian that has come out of all this generation for these past 63 years, other than generational poverty? So, CORNFESSOR Wole Soyinka might need to know this. A country whereby the allocation to education continue to dwindle, and then you have more out-of-school children, okay, in an economy that is deliberately made poor by these criminals. Now, when you look at the map all round, okay, where do the poor people, who created the poor people, where are they currently located? How poor are they? Now, all of this, the victims of all of this are still being blamed for the way they react. That's exactly what I see it as. So you don't have respect. It's because of the internet. Respect for who exactly? And I mean, are those that CORNFESSOR Wole Soyinka watches break Nigeria laws? Let's say Nigeria have laws, okay? The same, what do you call it? The same violence, rigged election, corruption, police brutality, the divisive rhetorics from the likes of for Food Kayode, Ezibida Bayo Nonuga, or is that fraudsters Otobokeyamo, and the vituperations and things they have actually implanted and division they have orchestrated. Okay, so what people are saying is that CORNFESSOR would rather attack you for reacting to what these guys are offering you. They are offering Nigerians poverty. But if you react, then something has to be done about it. That's why I said they should regularize the social media. Now, look at something like this. It is not that there are not Nigerians who are indeed fed up and they are doing everything to push back and fight back. But when these people become the victims of the same establishment, right? Sometimes you would expect voices like this of CORNFESSOR to at least, even if he's going to attack you for trying to fight back, right? At least acknowledge what they have done. Omo, right before our very eyes, they changed the narrative of what led to the February 25th charade that you all participated, Abi, as well as what happened then and after. You watched them changed it. Kolu, who has no legitimacy, is still parading himself, and they are telling you that at least they have seen prophecy that you are going to be prosperous under Tifnumbu. Something they told you as well under Bokwari, and you have watched them dip Nigeria into further impoverishment or so. Abi, you've watched them from bad to worse, from worse to like frying pan to fire. Their actions are not pointing to anything to show that you are overreacting. If there is anything at all with what you have seen so far, even with the level of trying to change the narrative, weeks, months after the charade, as you've seen, like people like him who kept quiet, even if you wanted to be quiet, they continue to make it a hell for you. Because when the criminals who hijacked Nigeria as we speak, once they as they continue to milk, you are feeling the brunt, and you continue what? To speak out and reject them, Abi. So rejecting them is what will continue to make people like CORNFESSOR Wole Soyinka, to continue to come out and attack you. And here is the point. Even if you want to keep quiet, okay, but you can't. The reason is because the criminals who have hijacked Nigeria, their actions every day, okay, is towards squeezing life out of you or taking everything away from you. And every time you decided to speak out or react to that, you are considered an aggressor who is probably an illiterate, listening to people who are trying to poison your mind that it is right thing to actually stand up against those who are coming for wherever you hold dear. If it is your life, fine. If it is your family, fine. But these rogues and their policies will take everything they can from you. And every now and then, they will unleash the person like this CORNFESSOR Soyinka. The criminals continue to do what they know how to do best. I'm talking about what you saw Bokwari did. That some of you felt like elections will save you, and you put so much into it, and you watched them, broke your law, and they what? Gave you middle finger. They told you to go to court. You struggled through all of this, and you saw what that ended as. This is what you try to prevent, Abi. Now, they are in charge. Things have gone from bad to worse. There you are, back to we never wanted this so. And once you react, or let's say, when people like Soyinka comes out to tell you to support the rogue, and you are going to be like, hello, what are you actually saying? That I should at first accept these criminals and whatever they have to offer, and then I have to support them, even if it has to be like taking away my life. So yeah, they will ask you to have to support them. So if you don't, you are classified as those, they're classified as illiterate, who probably listen to Mayegun and others. But do you want me to tell you something? If you are a young person watching this video right now, the likes of Wole Soyinka are people from the past. They are people who are who happened to be not a total disappointment, because for those who knows them very well and his likes, they never really counted on them much when it comes to this national, whatever things that affect all of us, okay? But to some, is is a disappointment. Like, it would be ideal if he probably didn't say anything at all than to blame people who react. So, for example, when Soyinka says everybody needs to support, and then you react and say, what do you mean, support him? Look at this old man. Look at this useless man. So, CORNFESSOR Soyinka has a problem with that. Now, in order to make it easier for us, like I said, I was going to be kind of nice enough, and I'm not going to kind of get you lost in the whole message is this. You see, the old people need to know one thing, okay? That a lot of us who were raised to believe that doing the right thing means that you are going to end right. And what are the right things? Okay? Follow the teachings of your parents, if you are lucky to have them, or guidance. Follow the teachings of God, whichever religion they raise you in, right? Then they want you to, in the process, you have to like get education, and in the process, you have to get a job, and you become a responsible citizen who pays his or her taxes, takes care of his or her family, and stuff like that. Then we realized that while we were growing up, those who told us that they didn't just deceive our parents. Sorry, they didn't just deceive us. They deceived our parents to deceive us. So when reality came in, we realized that they had no plan for anybody. There was no real plan of nation building. They were actually building an asylum where they were going to keep their slaves. And once they ordered you this or that, just do it. And those are the normal ways, the old ways. Don't question them. But their failure is so huge that you cannot afford not to question them and say, oh, what is going on? What is all this? This generation couldn't deliver 24 hours electricity for Nigeria in 63 years. They couldn't deliver any functional healthcare system in 63 years. They didn't even know the population of the country in 63 years as we speak. So every foundation that were meant to be laid, that generation coming after them were supposed to build on, you know what I mean? None was laid. The cheapest lie was that the younger ones were the leaders of tomorrow, okay? Which came out to be a lie as well, okay? Now, they want so many of us to still carry on that in that tradition. And that is the collusion we are having today. When they tell you that you don't have respect, okay, you are questioning the elders. You know what I mean? And all those things that they kind of throw at us because we are asking questions and they have no answers. You get what I mean? So usually they will lie. They kept the history of Nigeria away from us. And that was deliberate, so as for them to perpetuate the lie. Now, the lies have now catch up with them. So catching up with them has put them in a very terrible position that instead of them to hands down and say, okay, fine, let's see what you can do, the younger people, or, I mean, try something new. So they decided to double down. And that is why they don't see us as respectful as their generation. But they were not really respectful during their own generation. If you're watching my video right now, Professor Wole Soyinka and people like him, let me give you those who are of his age. Wole Soyinka, Obasanjo, you have the like of Gowon, you have the likes of Babangida, Muritala, Buhari. I'm giving you those ones that you can easily familiarize with. Those are the age mates of Wole Soyinka. When others went into the military, they were so angry with the establishment of their own era. Those who went into military, they were so impatient enough that they started the first coup in Nigeria, the second, the third, and guess their ages. They were in their 20s and early 30s. That was when they took over Nigeria. You see what they could. Wole Soyinka took over the reign of a government of Sami Western region of Nigeria when he was also in his own 30s. I think it was 35 or 36. When in his own rage against the system, he picked up a gun, walked into, he didn't fire the gun, he walked straight into a radio station, radio station. And he gave a speech to say he has taken over the government. So what that means is that if you are a young person right now, people like Wole Soyinka in this their age, people like all those I have mentioned now, by no means should they be any form of inspiration to you. If you take a look at Wole Soyinka was a writer, and you know that Wole Soyinka was never anyone who has what you can say a clearer sort of dependable political idea or ideology. He has none. He is somebody who you can say a Protestant that who feels like when something is actually wrong, it is wrong. It doesn't matter who is doing it, and it doesn't matter who is the victim. It will align with the side, okay, that he believes is right in his own mind, okay? That's the kind of person he is. He has no clearer political ideology. He never penned down any political article to say, oh, this is my ideology. This is what I would like. He started a political party, by the way. But it never really fly. It never really happened. Because it was somebody who was just a literary, somebody who expresses And even his own his books, you won't see any real political sort of literary work from him. Okay? He's just somebody that eventually joined the system. And now that his own friends, his benefactors, people who have benefited him, his family, okay? Now that they are in charge since 2015, Wole Soyinka has been making political statements that have always been mostly to attack those who speak against APC. Egbekebe. He never had word for the failure of APC. No. You won't see it anywhere where Wole Soyinka took his time to dissect the effects of the failure of APC, Egbekebe, the effect on the general country, the entire populace. It won't really be. Nigerians cannot. I mean, we remember Obasanjo time. You remember Maurice Iwu. You remember their own election. Then, under Obasanjo, there were no elections. They will write the what do you call? They will write the results, and they will tell you to go to court. It was so bad, right? That places where they didn't see a single electoral officer, they were watching on TV when they were announcing their results. And this led to whatever amendment they did over time. Now, 24 years after democracy, APC, Egbekebe came. Look at what they have now done to your elections in Nigeria. Now, you can forget about elections now. Just let it go. Forget it. Okay? You will be having your result delivered even before you wake up to go and cast your vote. And if you are not comfortable with that, you can go to court. What about the violence? What about the money, the vote buying? I mean, people are expected to react to them. Now, if you can no longer choose those who represent you, what is the essence of saying you are doing democracy? So people are going to react. You get? So when people react, the ideal thing is the people that you will say, the elder statesmen. Is that not what they call themselves? Those ones that have now, they have aged and somehow living on old glory, chopping whatever they can get from as their own pension. They usually are those who come around and just say something. There are some of them who are like Rogbodinho Wahala, but majority of them who are eating from the cookie jar. Abi, they won't say anything. Like I said, a place where I know normally, you will see that Nigerians themselves, it is not that they are not enablers. So what I am saying is this: even if you have all of the resources, okay, and you have all of the power, at least you should be able to put that to test, where you allow people, okay, to choose their leaders. I mean, make the election like people can choose. But in Nigeria, no. It is whoever can rig more will win elections. Then you see the people who are supposed to be people like CORNFESSOR Soyinka and so many like that in Nigeria, elders. And they will just keep mute. And before you know it, after the rigging is done, after the whole constitutional breaches are concluded and legitimized, you will see him at the high table with the beneficiary of the stolen elections or rigged elections, ruining the country. Abi? And then they wait for another elections again. So people are expected to react. So if the confessor has a problem with how these young people react to how these criminals are ruining Nigeria, won't it even make better sense if not because they are going to hear him or listen to him, but just to be fair and balanced, why can't the confessor say something when when they were budgeting over 1 trillion naira easy money to be stolen from a supplementary budget? 1 trillion naira invested in education will go a long way. We know how rotten the education system in Nigeria has become, of course. We know the number of out-of-school children in their millions. So what is confessor expecting? That those people should go and buy his book, and that will automatically teach them how to speak nicely when they can't pay their rent, when they can't feed their children, when they can no longer pay their hospital bills or pay for that medication, life-saving medication that they are on that has become so expensive. She, after doing every week or monthly orientation of how people should talk, automatically show people how to react when they have no electricity, when they have no jobs, when children are dying of hunger, when children are dying on the streets begging. Alimajirism. She learning how to talk nice will fix the corruption that these guys have come to legitimize. Abe when you're talking nice, when they are sniffing life out of you, you are losing everything. The currency is losing its value. Jobs are being lost. Businesses are dying. Nigeria continue to borrow because they can no longer generate enough revenue from people who are not working. She's talking nice. Be nice to people who are telling. Now, talking about fake news, can we even just mention the greatest peddler of fake news in Nigeria? Can confessor, please, for a moment, let us review what is fake news. If I post something and I say, Confessor Soyinka says, Bokwari is very stupid, and I put his photo. If you read that as a person, would you say it is fake news or real news? Now, let's say it is real news. What would that change? That Confessor Soyinka called Bokwari stupid. Did he call him stupid? Oh yeah, he called him stupid for banning Twitter. You should have said that then, but you just said he called him stupid. I said, okay, well, for sensationalists, if you can say, is that fake news? No, it's not. Okay, is that let's even say, is that fake news? Oh yeah, it is fake news. Who does that hurt? Does that hurt Soyinka and Buhari relationship? When you say Soyinka called Buhari stupid, but he didn't say that, or he didn't say it that way. So Soyinka is upset. If it is fake news, right? It is bad. Agreed. Breaking news. The federal government of Nigeria has now pumped $10 billion to cover the backlog of Forex. Central Bank of Nigeria. And then you read the news. The central bank governor, Yemi Cardoso, has now confirmed that the government of President Tinubu has now approved and rolled out $10 billion to cover the backlog of the Forex, which we believe that the Naira and dollar will begin to go down in the coming days and weeks. Breaking news from the federal government of Nigeria. So if you are a businessman who received that news, would you call it fake news or real news the moment you see it? Now, let me answer that for you. There are those people like me that will automatically see it as a fake news. But for those who are not going to see it as fake news, because it is your government now, they have quoted the central bank governor. So who are those who are to tell you how much money is pumped into the forex market other than the government or the central bank, Abi? So it must be authentic. It must be real news. And that news is a news that can actually make or mar the entire economy of Nigeria. If it ended up being fake, the entire economy will feel the effects negatively. If the news happened to be real, the entire economy will feel the shake positively. So it is coming from the government. And if it ended up as a fake news, who do you report to? That Tinubu did not pump 10 billion. The news did not say the money is coming from this place. The news is not saying the money has been shared to this and that. But the news comes from government, says it's pumping 10 billion. Is that not fake news? We have lifted, listen to this one, federal government of Nigeria. These are the news that are actually affecting lives. Ask those who are paying for different things outside Nigeria. Businessmen who have to bring in their goods into Nigeria, paying for them. And all they read every day is the forex news. See, what is the government doing about it? So now, if a news now come and say, the government has done this, so and so, and you went to those your vendor, and they said, no, there's nothing like that. Do you know what that means? Okay, here is another one. When the government comes and say, breaking news, the government is ready to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty. Do you know what that simply means to those who are really, really poor when they read the news? It signals hope. Abi? Hope that, they're finally thinking about us. And then you are waiting. A year. A month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Then the next thing, breaking news. We have spent over 800 billion naira on 11 million households by giving them 75,000 naira 3 months. And you are sitting down there and you're like, how? You called your fellow poor people and you say, did you get anything? Did you receive something? They said, no, I don't get anything. No. They said they have finished 800 billion. Do you know when they are going to share another one and remember us? I don't know. Those are the fake news that the government of Nigeria has, they've peddled many times. Electricity is going to start 24 hours electricity. They are going to generate 40,000 megawatt of electricity by the end of 2018. This was in 2016. This is 2023. The refineries of Nigeria, they have signed a contract with Germany. They have signed a contract with this. They have done blah, 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 blah. And the refineries in Nigeria are all going to be working by the end of 2020. This is 2023. After spending over 16 billion US dollars. Nothing to show for it. Fake news. But they don't take responsibility. And that's this and many more like that. And another one again. Give us 304 billion naira and we're going to conduct the best technological election for Nigerians. Technology. And they were given the 304 billion naira. And then you know how all of that went, all of the drama. That is fake news. When they said, no, we didn't say that. So if CORNFESSOR Soyinka want what do you call, if he wants the social media where people expresses themselves just how they feel. If he feels like it is a problem and it should be regulated and the people should be punished, whoever uses the social media to talk anyhow, I think Confessor will indeed, without mincing our words, will be asking APC, Egbekegbe, to arrest themselves. And that would be a wonderful thing. I mean, were we not just sitting down here on our own, where people are trying to figure out how to get out of the hole that Nigeria tried to drag them into by keeping the money belonging to the airlines of the UAE, $750 million that Bukwari's government already stolen and shared. Nigerians who are trapped in the UAE are feeling that fisticuff. Then breaking news, UAE has lifted the ban on Nigerian visa, blah, 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 blah. It's been about 4 or 5 months now. Abi? They haven't lifted any ban yet. Visa ban, all the lies. Is that not fake news? How do you expect people to react to that? Or Soyinka having problem with this generation, the generation that is yet to take over, a broadcasting station and declare their own person winner of election and ask everybody to stay away. That generation that hasn't gotten to a stage of mobilizing themselves, starting from the universities, give themselves names, revolution, take it back, or anything they want to give them. I'm just saying, not you. Give yourselves names and give yourself badges, beret, and everything. Be on all of all of the campuses across Nigeria. Take over all of the civil service and all that. Infiltrate everywhere and give them badges and all that. Okay? And then one day, just mobilize yourself and decide to take over the government of the country. Something that Wole Soyinka would have loved to achieve when he was younger like us. So if Baba is so old and is wondering what kind of world are we now, it is the world where people, or let me say, it is the world that your generation indeed created. Maybe not you in particular at the time, or because let's be fair, at least at some point in his life, he was on the side of those who are the victims of the rotten system. He didn't succeed. He ended up as them. And he's older now, which is fine and is great. Sure you get. So let's say those who didn't, what do you call it? Those who are yet to be like him in a way. The Nigeria that you are seeing today, the way the young people are talking today, not just young people, even some old people too, like older people. The way they are talking today is in reaction, okay, to the organized criminals who are perpetuating organized crime. They believe they have taken all the powers away from the people. And you cannot beat someone and at the same time tell them how to cry. Here you get. For the Confessor Soyinka to turn around and call us fascist for not agreeing with people who are comfortable killing other people because they want to sit on a seat of power. Those who don't give a damn about your law and every other, moral ethics out there, they don't give a damn about that. They've broken every moral law, they've broken every legal law and all that, and they deserve no other treatment than rebellion. So if Confessor think that, these septuagenarians, right, geriatric, I what do they call them? If Confessor believes that the technology is making us to stand up and talk in a way that has become unacceptable to him, and therefore his friends should probably turn the internet to something they can switch on and switch off. Well, the Confessor might want to take a seat okay? Because your generation did not create anything spectacular. You did not create internet. APC, Egbekegbe can hire people to help them, okay? Control the access to internet by the people. But you know something? The generation you are dealing with, they would always have access to information that some of you will consider too much for them to have access to. Because according to you, no matter how they react, also no matter how they feel, the pain that is coming from the criminals in charge of Nigeria, they should, or let me say they shouldn't, no, put it this way, that they couldn't process it. And because they couldn't process it, they therefore have no idea of how they would react to it. But it doesn't really matter. Like I said, you older ones who think you can gaslight us and blackmail us and tell us all the nonsense that you're trying to kind of, make yourselves believe. Listen to me. It won't change. You know what I mean? It won't change anything because you cannot mortgage our future, divide us, impoverish us. Of course, you have enablers, those who have already been broken, conquered. But as long as the criminals who think they have captured Nigeria, as long as they continue to live in that I-us and all of that braggadocio, I promise you one thing, it won't matter how people speak or how people talk, okay, or how people react. What would then matter is when they finally wake up, okay, that they go beyond just talking and talking, or kind of being like, like insulting, as you will say. Once they go beyond that, and it goes to the part of going physical, you and your colleagues and your friends, and if you are still alive, then okay, you will be surprised because you won't be able. Just same way you won't be able to, you are unable to control how we speak or how we do it now, you will not be able to control how we react and what happened thereafter. And that's what we are saying. All of now ways still pretend and continue to, in your old age, so many of you are over 80. A lot of you, okay, probably have less than 10, 20 years more. That whatever it is that you probably think that you have missed in your generation, and you believe that the rest of us who are still here, or those who are still going to be here, should pay for it. Well, the promise I can always make is this. The rogues that are in charge of Nigeria are being kind of, they are getting emboldened every day. And because they have never been responsible or been held responsible for anything, so therefore they will continue to make more and more and more, mistakes like this, that will eventually push everyone to a stage that will eventually consume everybody. That one is guaranteed though. But as a young person watching Mayegun right now, I have this for you. You don't have to take it. Okay? You see, everything they told you about Nigeria, remember what I said, and I'll keep saying, is a lie. Some people will tell you it's not everything. Some things are true. Some major things that they told you about Nigeria, they are lies. And if you begin to ask questions, you are going to end up on this side, the side that is tired of all their lies, the side that believes that at a point in time, at a particular time, majority of those of you who are still on that side, that trench is trying to figure it out. You are going to be on this side, on the side that believes that we can break the circle and we can end this madness. Elections can't stop that. Elections can't change that. Participating in their charade is what will continue to give the likes of Soyinka and his likes the opportunity, okay, to say they have an idea of how you should react when you have been seconded or you have been made third class citizens, if they make you citizens but slaves in your own country, they cannot keep you safe. They cannot run an economy that makes you comfortable. They can't really provide electricity. They will never provide that, remember. Now they can't even refine their own crude oil in Nigeria. They are counting on those who can come and give them money, the same money that they will embezzle. Now, corruption has become something that they have legalized. Criminality has been legalized as well. Electoral coup has been legalized. Everything is gone to the dogs as we speak right now. Here you get. So one of these days, you are going to get to that stage as well, and you're going to come back to decide elections can save Nigeria. I remember, well, it was actually yesterday when I was giving us a round of updates from, what do you call it, from their charade elections. A country that cannot conduct its own election, ladies and gentlemen, you can't choose your leaders. That is no longer a democracy. That is no longer a country. They will tell you to go to court. In a few months, you'll forget about all these things. Stockholm syndrome is going to set in. Abi? And then you're going to prepare for 2027. Then you're going to prepare for 2031. They continue to juggle and play with your life that way. You can't be part of that. But for those who are still pretty much not convinced, there is no problem. There is always going to be something back. And that thing is going to be square one. It's going to always be square one. Here is that from Imo State. As poor as it is right now in Nigeria, they managed to get, number one, there's not going to be any elections in Nigeria anymore. Okay? They will declare winners wherever they want, just to make it look like it's balanced, okay? So forget elections in Nigeria now. And maybe around that time, when all of you come to that reality, when it is down on you, that will be the moment, you know what I mean? It's going to be the moment of truth, wherever side you belong to right now, okay? So they caught some of these guys, 11 million naira cash was what they got from them in Imo State. And if you look at the money, it is from the Central Bank of Nigeria, see? And it's mainly for the election given to the APC. Here you get. So this was in Imo State. And today, Uzordinma has been declared the winner. Yesterday, I was showing you their election rigging in Orlu and Orsu. And I told you, I said, you are going to declare winner. Uzordinma was declared the winner of the entire 21 local government areas of Imo States. And he scored 540,200 or 300 and something votes as well. And the next person scored 73,000, which is the PDP. The next one after that is Labour Party. That one scored 69,000. So, if you are not comfortable with that, they said they should go to courts. So, where they were doing a collation in Imo State, somebody who presented himself as the Labour Party chairman of chairman of Labour Party in Imo State. So they were kind of protesting the rigging, the falsification of results, the prepared results, and all of that stuff. And Baba, before you know it, sorry, Banana Republic. This was before they announced Uzordinma as the winner. I'll show you that one before we go any forward, because Confessor need to also see something like that. I'm gonna here, check this. I think, no, it's the upper one rather. Let's go to Imo State. How they collated their results. Democracy.
The review will no longer be useful. You know, so just take this one now, because this is the correct thing. He knows what I'm saying. There was nothing like accreditation. Zero. If you go to your IRA, zero. But they have manufactured the results. And I can't understand why the returning officers, honorable returning officer from the local government, will be coming to present these fake things and thinking that we will just accept it. They can't just be doing that. They are human beings. I think people will have conscience. You can't do all sorts of things and then come here to present to the people of the state and nation. And you want us to accept it. I'm pleading that at this stage, just take this one. Just step whatever thing you are doing and do a review, because this one is a very serious matter. There was nothing like, yes, there was nothing like that. So please, Honorable Professor, please do it.
Prof, this, Prof, excuse me. I just, because he called me. I am from Orsu local government.
Okay.
I went to Orsu today. All the security agencies took Orsu people from this local, from Wole, those that were outside Orsu. We went with more than 80 buses. 80 buses. The pictures I can show it, it's recorded here. And he said there was zero accreditation. If you bring the beavers, if you go through the beavers now, and you bring the server, you will see the results that were uploaded from Orsu.
Yes, next man that. Let's give it to that other man. Give it to that man.
There was no election in Orsu.
Hello, your man, continue.
Please, we can't allow this to go. We can't allow this to go.
Please, I want to.
No election in Orsu. No election in
Please, I want to just hold on there. I want to correct some. I want to get something here. Please, there is something I want to get. Hold on, sir. Excuse me, sir. Just listen. Hello. Please, just listen. I want to ask something. My brother here implicated himself here now. He said that there are some buses that convert people to Orsu. Who are those people that those bots convert to Orsu? That's number one. Now, that's number one. When we talk, we should be mindful of our talk. You said buses convert people to Orsu. My question number one is, who are those people? Then another thing I want to ask here, the result you called, the total number of votes there. I don't know whether I'm the one making mistake. The number I got is different from what you called. I said, I don't know if I'm the one who made it. Please, can you repeat that total registered number and total accredited number and total vote? Because I got the total vote 19589. But what you called is 19939.
There was no accreditation in Orsu. There was no voting in Orsu.
I don't know if I'm mistaken, but what I wrote here is 19939. Then I recalculated the result you called. I got 19589. Please, sir.
We will not take it again.
Excuse me, let us get it right. Let us check whether what I'm saying is right or not. Please. Thank you.
We will not sit down again. We will not sit down while we left our democracy. We will not sit down again. We will not sit down again. It's going to kill us, kill us.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me make a ruling. Let me make a ruling. Let me make a ruling.
let me make a ruling. I want you to listen very carefully. You don't have the right to disrupt this election. By the law of this election, electoral act of this country, you don't have the right to disrupt this election. And I'm saying it, I know the law. If you destroyed it, it's either you go, don't destroy this election. If you are, then don't destroy this election. What you are doing, you are distorting this election. And I'll have, please, you are disrupting this election. We are destroying the collation of this election. We are destroying the collation of this election, please. Please, you can't disturb this election. But the police.
Somebody said, no kilamo, no kilamo. That's the kind of impunity we are talking about. It's meant to be an election. But there was no election in that place for real. I mean, I kind of shared that yesterday myself. But I told you they were going to announce results. And they announced results. So if you're not comfortable with that, go to court. I mean, you rob people like that. You write figures. Why do you ask them to participate in an election that you've already written the result? Why are you even participating in their elections when you know they will do the same thing to you? Like, what gives you that impression that the people that you did not hire, maybe you hire them. You're not the one who is going to give them money. The money they are going to pay them is not going to come from the sweat of anybody. It's going to come from the Central Bank of Nigeria. So even if people collect the money and they vote it for you, if they count your vote, okay, even if they count your vote and they say, okay, they declare you winner at your polling unit and they reach collation center and they start announcing another result and you are there screaming, fighting, doing all of that, and they have to beat you, push you out. And they say you should go to court, and the court says you have no evidence that they rigged you. And you have to perform the cycle again and again. Why would you want to do that to yourself? Like, why should you do that? Because the story is the same in Kogi, but I mean, after the whole thing, the guy was already dancing to celebrate the new victory. And you would think Sheingo can't do well for the people. Them. And already I have started seeing people say, Hope deserve it. I campaign very well. Hope tried though. Hope has tried so well. Oh. At least Hope is something. This, those things like Nigeria, typical, right? And indeed, he has some people on the street. I think I have a clip of that. Mercy. Now the Bayelsa people be that one. We'll leave those ones for now. So let's go to Kogi. We'll come back to Bayelsa. And then I'll show you the people in Owerri. So in Kogi, you remember Dino? Same Dino.
Doubled our state for the past 12 years. When I say PDP, you say Allah Maje. PDP. PDP. When I say PDP again, you say Tofiakwa. PDP. that are Muslims here, please, can we do 3 Allah Isa to PDP?
Allah Isa, Allah Isa, Allah Isa. Well, this is Canary Dino, who has also been, he's been complaining since yesterday, by the way, but he called on his supporters to not vote because when the figures that Yeye Bello started rolling out from Okene, Lokoja, Adavi, even people from those areas were like, which kind number of votes be this? So they now said, whatever will the Wike did in Rivers State for Fubara, that Wike is learning work in what Yeye Bello is doling out and dishing out for Ododo. Even Ododo will be like, where this one they come from? I'm telling you. But the only person that has kind of really complained that much is Canary Dino. And it's pretty much like, lamentation to me. Not because it actually mean anything per se, but just for the record, okay? The other guy of SDP, they have also rejected the results. In Imo State, those ones have rejected the results. We are going to court. Some people say, you better don't go to any court. Which court, which area court are you going to? So you want to go to, okay. But I don't think Canary Dino want to go to court, but let's listen to him, where he gave his own sad and disappointing experience of the charade. Listen.
Start by condemning in its totality the conduct of the elections yesterday and outrightly call for the total cancellation of the election because that was not an election. It is shameful that the unhealthy INEC refused to realize, ameliorate, or palliate the problems they created in the last presidential and governorship elections. Yesterday, in 5 local governments of the Central Senatorial District in Kogi State, there was no election in any. Surprisingly, accreditation was done manually. The beavers was not used. Prepared result sheets manifested even before accreditation took place. The evidence is all over the media. So INEC, as a matter of urgency, must cancel the election. Many areas where I won, after counting, my agents were told that there are no available result sheets to enter the results. And we have evidence to back up this assertion. As I speak to you, it is shameful that this is what our democracy have descended to. INEC have manifested more than ever before that they cannot be trusted, they are biased, they are compromised, and they cannot be a neutral umpire. INEC officials, youth corps members were caught yesterday with prepared result sheets even before the commencement of the processes leading to the election. A youth corps member was caught yesterday with 1 million naira in his bag. Complete 1 million naira with a prepared results already. There was deliberate suppression of my votes in Lokoja and Kogi local government. This was deliberately done by Yeye Bello and the APC to make sure that even in their orchestrated arrangements, I don't come second. Because they do believe that there will be a second ballot. And they believe that if there's a second ballot, I have tremendous influence and support in the central, and I can build an inroad in the east. So they will prefer any other person to come second, who will find it difficult to have support in the central and in the west. So with these various malpractices that have bedeviled this election, I call for the total cancellation of this election. I call for a total repentance from INEC, where we will now conduct a credible poll. I am not perturbed, I am not worried, I am not disturbed. To the glory of God, I am okay. But it is just pathetic, and I sympathize with the people of Kogi State. I sympathize with the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I weep for our country. I weep for generations yet unborn, that in the 21st century, you have an umpire, you have an INEC that is biased. You will be shocked, as I am, that after all the promises by Mahmoud Yakubu, that Mahmoud Yakubu cannot wash his hands out of this calamity. There is no way Yeye Bello and the APC will have access to sensitive INEC documents without the collaboration of the highest level in INEC. They had result sheets before the election. These result sheets are supposed to be in the CBN. They are sensitive material that should not be tampered with. So how did APC gain access to ballot papers? How did they gain access to original result sheets? It shows that we have no INEC, we have no umpire, we only have an institution that is aiding fraud, that is aiding corruption, and that is aiding rigging. And this particular rigging I have never seen in my life. I have seen digital rigging, I have seen snatching of ballot papers, I have seen writing of results, but this particular system of rigging in Kogi State election yesterday is legendary. It is scientific, it is well planned, well orchestrated, but poorly implemented. The implementation is myopic, is porous, is parochial, it displays intellectual stagnancy because their life expired before even it was pronounced. I call on the security agencies who apparently did very well yesterday. I applaud the security agencies for maintaining peace, though the strategy of APC in Kogi election was not violent, because they found out that that may not aid their intended corruption. But I want to state unequivocally that the battle to salvage the people of Kogi State, to me, is a battle of no retreat, no surrender. And we have not heard the end of this yet, because I will fight this with the last blood in my vein. We will fight it to the latter. The people's mandate must be realized, and we will not allow Yeye Bello to have a third term. It is not possible. Yeye Bello cannot have a third time through a proxy. The people's mandate, the people's wish in this state must be fulfilled. This is not the wish of the people, and I say that we will not allow this to stand. We will wait to see what INEC will do. We will wait to see what INEC and what the reaction of INEC will be. But if they do not carry out ameliorations, we as citizens of this country, within the confines of the law, we will prove that power truly belongs to the people. This is not the end of it. I thank you, Kogites. I thank you, those who came out to vote for me yesterday, but I will try to defend your votes. We will make sure that this satanic manifestation is not allowed to stand. As my situation room just released, you will see that in 3 local governments, there was overvoting of 174,000. In 3 local governments, overvoting of 174,000 in 3 local governments. You find out that from INEC portal, this is the accreditation, this is the number. But going to the result sheets, there is overvoting. And in 3 local governments, we computed overvoting in the central of 174,000 in 3 local governments. This is wicked, this is nefarious, this is barbaric, and it's unacceptable.
I'm also a very emotional person. And it is not a laughing matter. Sure you get. And if you remember Dino, you will remember this. All these ones are just popping up now. You know, internet, no, they forget. You remember this one, Abi? APC, Egbe, they never forgave Dino for this. APC people, they didn't forgive him for that. They talk about Emilokon like that and all that. But it is what it is. I don't know what these Ibira people are singing. They said they composed this for Dino too. I don't know what they are singing. Kogi women, they are APC. I mean, I see that all the time. It's just that after this whole drama and all of that, right? It go come be like carnival. Everything go come car for everybody's eye, everyone's eye. The reality will set in. Then they begin to say, after we did all of that, and now this country is very tough and all of that. It is... But it's their choice, so to say. So in Bayelsa, their own election is inconclusive. They have declared that Ododo winner in Kogi. So Yeye Bello have succeeded have succeeded in installing his own 2G. The guy already won 11. They've already declared 11 local government for him. But you know how they arrive at that. Dino, sorry, don't cry, Dino, sorry, don't cry. That is what, an unjust system is like. And why you should reject it. Don't join those who believes that, you know what I mean? It could be your turn tomorrow. Or this one would soon be out of favor. It could be our turn. Then it could be this and it will be that. You can't live your life like that. There are those who are part of the system now that they will begin to speak as if to say they are on your side until they have their ticket, their meal ticket back to the table. Don't fall for that. Ask for something better. Break up the shit hole. It is very easy. Say it. Break it up. Say it. Break it up. You see all those solutions they are giving you are not. Don't just think it. I want you to say it and tell yourselves, if we love Nigeria, let's break it up. Or else, the charlatans, they will continue to have their way, and you will continue to pay for that. Whether you supported them or you didn't, You continue to. In Bayelsa, it was meant to be like an easy ride, and arrange like I told you. Yeye Bello will have his way. All places of Dejo will have his way. Diri will also have his way as PDP. Or it be like say somehow, they are scared of APC, breaching the agreement. Because according to them, they've declared their 6 local government areas. And it is like Diri, the PDP guy in Bayelsa, the people that have now made Bayelsa state the 2nd poorest state in the entire Nigeria. The entire local government in Bayelsa no reach 10, I've been 11 local government areas, very small space, with billions and billions, tens of billions of naira that they actually have to accumulate in. That should be enough at least to make life better in that place. People destroying people, 24 years of people destroying people in charge of the place. Anyway, the Diri guy is afraid. Probably they were going to shortchange him. Or maybe the people are just the ones who are not just understanding. Angono, they were on the streets. I think this one is Imo. There's no real job, there's no real economy activities in that place. So most of the money are coming from either 13% derivation or coming from the federal allocation, the loans that these guys takes, and some subventions they get from the oil companies. This is just go and be governor, and then, you know what I mean, sit down and share the money. They have problems when the money is not properly shared to every quarter. So it's like turn by turn, and that's what Bayelsa is. That is what most of the Niger Delta part of Nigeria has become. Fine, you see a lot of investment coming from those who came to invest in the petrochemical sort of things there, no doubt, okay? When it comes to the real government working in Niger Delta part of Nigeria, investing in the real economy, the socio-economy, infrastructure, and the rest of that, creating jobs, forget it. That's not something there. And poverty in that part of Nigeria is not overemphasized. Being the 2nd, the poorest state in Nigeria is a textbook definition of what corruption can do. The level of ruin and destruction corruption can bring, used by Bayelsa. Have been told that their local government in that state is just 8 local government areas. You heard it right. And guess what? The entire Bayelsa state, including their land and everything, they probably will fit into one single local government area in Oyo State. I mean, I'm not over exaggerating. No, sorry if you're from Bayelsa. It's a small space, right? The creek. But yet, they continue to milk the money. Yeah, they want PDP to continue. It doesn't really matter in that part. So, sure, you get whether it's PDP or APC. All that matter is that once the money land, it must reach everybody from everywhere, or else wala good day. And whatever you can do with the rest, you can go and do with it. 2nd poorest. So they are out there. They were out there protesting the possible rigging that they are afraid of. 2 local government areas are left to be announced. So they have postponed that till tomorrow. But today in Bayelsa, I think I've mixed them up. Okay, this one is that of Imo Guys, But there's something I want to share with you in that Bayelsa before we go back to that Imo. Take a look.
The state returning officer is doing, it seems that party agents are not supposed to be there. So that we can just go and then we can be doing whatever thing that we want to do here.
Please withdraw that statement. That is not correct.
But that's what you said.
I have been making statement that party agents, any observation, please don't say that. The fact that we are accommodating you does not mean that you can just throw words to...
well, it's my right. I'm representing the political party.
That is not correct.
I'm representing the political party.
I think we should be more
I have a right to be here.
We should be more
responsible. So you are condoning it. It means that you are saying that the APC is not supposed to be here.
No. The fact that we are here, all of us are here for the same... But we should be responsible.
We are responsible.
You can't just throw words to me like that. I'm a responsible...
But your statement, you made a remark.
I have asked.
Just accept the
result. I have asked. I said any...
I was raising my hands. My name is Dr. Dennis Otiochi.
Let's have one house. Please, let's have one house. Let's have one house. Please, policemen, please. Please, let's be calm. It's okay. Party agents, please calm down. Please, Oga, please calm down, please. It's okay, Mr. Vito.
It's commotion everywhere, you know. And the one I wanted to share with you earlier, these ones are out as well as protesters, but they are APC. Those are the ones, they were not protesting per se, they were celebrating hopeless Uzordinma re-election, reselection. Well, good luck with that. I won't drink small tea, but just before we get to that breaking part, right? Okay, now take this one, oh body. One of those who usually come around to dilly-dally about, okay? It's not new, it's old. Just an example of another Soyinka that some of you will say disappoint you, Abi. Bakaram.
Have you gone to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for a buy-in? He said, yes, we have reached him, and he said, we agree totally. He's going to play ball with them, but there are some things to be agreed upon later. And the week after, Asiwaju Bola's group also fixed the same date in the same Ibadan city for their own summit, summoning all the governors of Southwest and all the Obas to be there. Who will follow the others? Nobody. Do you understand me? Look, I'm telling you the truth. Accept your humble pie, eat it. When you were sleeping, Ashbola Bala Tinubu was working day and night. He secured Lagos, secured Ogun, secured Oyo, secured Osun, secured Ekiti, secured Ondo, secured Edo. And you say it's a nobody or there. And you think he labored that much to now say, come and take. No. He's not a fool. Jephthah is not an idiot. Stop all this nonsense about ancestry. You will kill your heroes. And those who can deliver you, you will put them aside and nothing will happen. All these Shakabula leaders, they don't have machine gun. All they have is Shaka. You know what Shakabula is? Then gone. He that has ears to hear, let him hear. I'm not afraid of anybody. Ojo Benny Kosore and Ejiri. Stop plotting, screaming against someone. He had his past, you have yours. Even Pope has a past. Don't let me expose your men of God, though. Because they all have their past too. And before I expose them, I should look inward. I have my past too. And you do too. I told him what was not.
Nuisance Lele. Nuisance Lele. Nuisance Lele. Nuisance.
There is a reason why I had to bring that back, okay? Because there are many people. They come in different shapes, forms, and sizes. All right. Some will come as men of God to come and try and call black white for you. Well, the point here is this: you need to know this, and knowing this means that knowing the truth. Okay. There is nowhere, not even in the Bible, their Bible there, that says that criminals have in any way, okay, done anything good after obtaining something criminally. Sure, you understand? There is no record of them anywhere. If you have done anything that is criminally, in the Bible, it's called sin. At first, you must come clean. Okay? You have to come clean. Confess. Then, you promise not to go back to it. Sure, you get. It is not that you have to leverage on it and say, just ignore my past. The reason why Nigeria is where Nigeria is because the past of those who have committed heinous crimes have never really been prosecuted. A lot of them have become who you will call distinguished men and women, honorable men and women, excellencies here and there. It's because their past is in their past. And since they have never really been punished, a lot of them have grown comfortable in the world of criminality, that they are committing serious economic crimes against their country, against their people, and they don't even see it that way. So some may talk to you like your father or like your mom or somebody you respect a lot. They come in different shapes, sizes, and forms to try to force you to accept abnormality. The reason why you won't, it's not because you are a saint. In this life, we all have responsibilities. Now, when you have criminals who are supposed to be in prisons, who are making laws, executing laws in a country, all you have is going to be a lawless country. And there are times that you need real people to speak out and, mobilize the people against such people having access to power. You cannot sugarcoat it. You can't tell people to move on. Now, you told people to move on because they have their own past. My past never put economic ruins on Nigeria. Greed and selfishness of these criminals have brought toward, economic hardship on the people. And they are still kind of emboldened to do more. Sure, And them doing more is what is putting Nigeria and Nigerians in a, further and further in a very terrible place. So when they come to you and tell you nobody is a saint, let's move on, or pray for him, or prosperity, Nigeria is going to be so great, but under Tinubu. But when you look at those around him, they are merely propagandists. Sure, you get. So somebody who knows that Tinubu is surrounded by propagandists is telling you that God is telling him that Nigeria is going to be great under him. Somebody who appointed over 1,000 people, and there is no single economic or economist among them, the real ones, not Oluwole Genje, technocrats that they promised you. Bosun Tijani, another young man who used to be on this side, among those we call the Bele lecturers. My eyes have seen, my ears have heard things that I have actually seen these guys done. I could be a preacher for life, and I will never run out of, what to say. Look at this. So on this platform, we know those we call the Bele lecturers, the Mugus, whose loyalty to Nigeria is pretty much hideous, and full of hypocrisy. They are waiting for their turn, and there are those who love to project, I love Nigeria, I love Nigeria, I have idea Nigeria. It's all nonsense. Sure, you get. You see this guy, Bosun Tijani, he had this community that a lot of young people felt like, now this kind of people we want in our government to go inside and change the government. You know how many people who have told you that? That what Mayegun is doing is just a waste of time. It cannot change anything. We need people to go into the government and change it from inside. And you're like, once they go inside, now the thing will can't change them. Now they won't go change the system. The system will now change them. I said, no. You'll be a fool if anybody tells you that they have this perfect plan how to rescue Nigeria, so they want to go and join their politics, this rotten one that we all know how it is structured, right? They want to go in there and do something and fix something. If you believe them, you are, you know what I mean? You are probably like, voluntary slave, they will say, a fool. Here you get. Every one of them is positioning themselves for an opportunity to go inside. So you see this Bosun Tijani? They were among those of us who continue to call out the failure called Bukwari. They've given him a minister of communication. He's now showing the PowerPoint pictures, taking pictures, starched clothes and all of that with Kolu everywhere. And he's now becoming a motivational speaker like, what's that guy's name again? The Akwayato Maguire that Tinubu appointed recently, Fela Durotoye. So he's a minister, clean cut. Now, he was addressing some of these guys yesterday and he called them, you lot will not understand. You people will not, we have become the you people, because he's now sitting down there with the rogues, having his own share. So if you still see anybody, they tell you, say, we need to go in there and change the system. They are lying to you. I have seen a lot of them. They are chancers. Once they get in, they will call you lazy, stupid, ignorant. They will tell you that you have no idea how government work. I have seen it happen again and again and again. And the moment they are like vomited out like that, they will begin to reason normally again. They will begin to sound like, only if Nigeria can work and do this and do that, they will begin to give ideas again. So if you let anybody tell you that they have an idea of how Nigeria is going to work and they are working on doing something together to me, they are deceiving you. Sure you get. So Bosun Tijani, who is now their communication minister, is facing the backlashes from the people where he said Nigeria data price is the cheapest in the world, not minding that the Nigeria minimum wage is also the worst in the world and all that. So if you let anybody tell you that somehow they have this vision, or you let somebody deceive you using whatever advantage they have over you, listen, nobody can run your mind if you don't give them the access to it. That's why I showed you that video of what do you call it, of Bakaran. Now, before I end this broadcast, make a try sound like say I want to give you summary, so that all the hours you have spent tonight, you can have something to take to bed tonight, because I'm going to call it a night soon. Call this one the summary. When people like CORNFESSOR Soyinka, who are alive, old man, who are alive, hiding behind the literary icon, okay, to dish out some sort of paid rhetorics that will sort of, blackmail the Nigerians of how they react to how APC Egbekegbe have destroyed Nigeria. Okay? If people like him cannot be honest enough to tell his own friends, Tifnumbu and APC Egbekegbe, that it is their failure, the failure in everything that they have touched, that has now given birth to a generation that, one, they intentionally never invested in. There was no preparation for this generation. No preparation from your generation, Professor. So, tell your friends. Some of us have sort of envisioned this a while back. I remember when I told my story, when somebody said, Mayegun, okay, let me put it this way. When I said I wasn't a journalist, I am not your human rights activist. I am not fighting for you. And I'm actually encouraging you to stand up and be ready to fight for yourself like myself. And if we then all agree to fight for ourselves, then maybe we can break the chain. Because I am more worried that the criminals who are running Nigeria or ruining Nigeria, they have no plan for anyone. You see the children that they are giving birth to today, 2023. In 20 years' time, 2043, they will be 20 years old. And in 2043, they will wake up and realize that, you see, this APC ruling in this 2023, they have no plan for them, and there was never any preparation to say there's a generation that will turn 20 in 20 years' time. Because 24 years ago, these rogues, people destroying people, took charge of Nigeria. They had no single plan for the future per se, or maybe they just couldn't pursue it. 24 years after, you see where Nigeria is. If you are 24 years old, your story is similar to what I'm trying to describe now. 24 years ago, some of us were not born. Some of you who see my video, you were not born. Okay? Today you are existing in a country that was less populated 24 years ago. But you were born. The population has grown, but there is no infrastructural development. There is no economical development. There is no, preparation for you to accommodate your education, to accommodate your healthcare, to accommodate your economic need and the rest of that for what it's going to be like in 20 years' time, 24 years ago. No plan. Now, I'm using that now for you that are now matured, who now understand Nigeria better. Sure you get. Imagine those of you who are going to have your own children from now. Let's say 2023 is when you have your child. Okay? You are young. And in 20 years' time, add that to your current age. You see that your child, that you're currently paying a nursery fee for, nursery school, buying small toy and all of that. That child is going to be an adult, 20 years old. Now, if I ask you, do you trust these criminals that they actually have a plan, a 20 years plan for your child? Would you say yes? None. So the likes of Professor Wole Soyinka should be honest enough to stop finding different adjectives to describe the victims of a failed system and begin to put the blame on them and say, you know, the internet is creating a generation of illiterates. The internet is creating a generation of morally bankrupt people. That's what he said. While this generation is actually watching their leaders, morally bankrupt leaders, corrupt criminals, election riggers, liars, money launderers, career criminals, they are seeing them. They are seeing all their religious leaders. They are seeing the life they are living. People are seeing things. The morality you want them to show. The question is going to be, Professor Wole Soyinka and people like him, where do you think this generation is learning whatever they are currently doing from? Or where do you think, per se, this generation is going to learn honesty from? Where should they learn it from? They should manufacture it by themselves. Because those of you who we believe came from the generation when, honesty was your watchword, Abi. You were raised to be patriotic, right? Now, if you didn't play active role in all of this, but you are not condemning them, they are condemning you, the people, the victim. They want you to feel less of yourselves. He's called you people he called you pigs. That's what Soyinka said. He said, people of moral, people of a lower, standard. People who are supposed to be in the mud, dirty, low lives. The internet gave you leverage that you, low life, can actually come and call him name. Because somebody like me, who is not a doctor, who hasn't written or wrote a book, Abi, who has not been called a Nobel laureate or something like that. So I'm from the category of low class, low lives, who is talking to a Nobel laureate. A Nobel laureate gave an idea, his own opinion. He just gave his opinion. You guys are just talking like you are from the gutters and all of that. Do you see that? Irresponsible people, irresponsible generation, a failed generation that is still failing, but will not take responsibility. If your papa belonged to that category, I'm not going to say you should disown your papa, but trust me, you cannot be so stupid and so coward, to just say, because now my papa talk, I don't want to disobey my papa. That's what I believe. You know what I mean? we have a generation that believes that somehow, we deserve what we are getting because that is the best they have to offer. Now that you are reacting that 22 or 23 million children are currently out of school, they're not going to get education. So you and I in 10, 20 years, we would have to deal with those people. So they are not going to die. 22 million, they're not going to just die. At the end of the day, maybe now 15 million of them will survive. In 20 years' time, those are going to be the product of a failed system that didn't care for them. Just think about that. And if those ones begin to now react violently, since they have been put below the economic ladder, that they have to kind of scrabble and scrub the floor, the ground to eat. And they decided not to be using their words to express themselves. Now they want to use their own hands and their whatever to. Because take a look at, think about that. You're going to be driving in that your nice car. You're going to be relaxing inside that your best nice house that you suffered to build. And this generation of 22 million uneducated Nigeria children, by these criminals who wanted to be respected, who wanted us to watch what we say, careful of what we say, or they will just lock us up and put us in jail. They don't care, right? We are going to be their victims. They're going to be the future kidnappers, the future armed robbers, the future Yaoule hackers, the future economic saboteurs, the people that are going to come after our lives. So if the likes of CORNFESSOR Wole Soyinka didn't see that, and he continued to go on that trajectory of these young people are illiterate, internet is making them become this or that. Well, like I said, you can forgive the ignorance of people like that simply because of transitioning from that generation that used to write a letter and post the letter and wait for months for response, to the generation that just have to click their phones and then within seconds, everything they needed, they need to know is right there on their palm. There's two different. These are two different generations. So the generation that is yet to take over, using the arms to take over, governments of any state in Nigeria to express their own displeasure. That generation can still be called the generation that is still moderate. But these guys are going to push all of us to the generation of completely uneducated generation that will understand one thing, that the establishment is lying to them. That everything else they've been told has been a lie. Even if you think they are not educated, they will understand poverty. And they will understand that the people that brought the poverty upon them will put their children in that same position. And if there's a way to break the circle, even if it's going to be violent, they will do it. So CORNFESSOR Soyinka may not be here anymore that time. And if he's still very much here, it should be better advised that whatever or however this generation reacts, the criminals who are his friends, who put all of us in this situation, they are not slowing down. They are not giving up. They are doing it even more. Okay? And what is he expecting? That we should turn to North Korea, begin to sing the praises of those who want us dead and having us dead and killed. That people can't even choose their own leaders. Hello? People have no right. They have no nothing. So they have made it to see him. So if somebody like him is going to call us fascist and the rest of that, is most welcome. And I'm just going to say this to you, my listeners, and I'm going to say it just once, okay? If to say these people have a great idea of how a country should be, Nigeria won't be as Nigeria is right now. Now, if you think that maybe you could give them a benefit of the doubt. That, okay, what if they also have something good they want to do? Listen. I'm not going to try to convince you otherwise, but I'm just going to lay before you the usual facts. And whatever you do with that is up to you. Not because you really have any much change you can make per se, okay? Except you actually make use of the information. Tinubu's government is not coming to fix Nigeria. You need to bury that thought and that imagination, okay? And their intention, even if they tell you that they have intention of ending your suffering, their actions have proved otherwise. And for every action, there's going to be, counter or opposite, as they call it, reactions, okay? The Central Bank of Nigeria, or let me say, Nigeria is currently bankrupt. All right? Now, they can't borrow their way to save you. Because even when they plan to borrow, they act on what they write in their budgets. Under Bukwari, before they plunged Nigeria, when they were plunging Nigeria into this generational indebtedness and poverty, they were writing budgets. In those budgets, they had no money. Nigeria was bleeding. Nigerians were losing their jobs. Businesses were shutting down. Revenues were dwindling. They were losing money on crude oil. Here you get, it was a floodgate of corruption. They were milking and then bleeding Nigeria to death, including the foreign reserve of Nigeria. This money is still in the custody and in the hands of these rogues. The fact that they have all the money and they have not been arrested and the money has not been taken from them, and they still have that clearance to even take more. What does that mean? It simply means the recurrent expenditure that was taking almost 70% of Nigeria budget, 70% of money they paid to themselves, 70% of money that they paid to those that were actually like free money for services they will never render, 70% of Nigeria budget. And they were funding Nigeria budget with over 80% borrowed money, 80% of borrowed money. Now, all of that money did not deliver any meaningful, useful infrastructure that could at least help rejig your economy, that could pay for some of these profligacies, some of this plundering and all of that. No. 90% of the budget they borrowed the money for, despite the huge money, 90% of the budget of the projects remain unconcluded. I mean, they've never concluded, uncompleted rather. So which means Tinubu and his gang, there is no assets to turn to money to start with. They will need to manufacture their own money. And you cannot manufacture money from the blues, even if you are printing money. So here is the problem. Where they couldn't get money to borrow under Bukwari, they printed money. That's what they did. Where they couldn't print money, they sold whatever government properties they could sell for scrap. They stole the money. Sure, you understand now? So Tinubu believed that they need to print money. So they are already printing money as you are watching this video. Okay? They also believed that they can always borrow their way out of this too. So they have also continued to borrow. Just everything that Bukwari did. And what are they borrowing the money for? What are they printing the money for? For consumption. Consumption in the sense that money being used to buy luxurious cars, for them to pay for extra code for foreign trips. You know what I mean? Money being used as to pay salaries, monies being printed and shared as allocations. And as these monies are landing in different parts of the country, so they share them to printed money, borrowed money. The criminals who are going to receive all the monies across Nigeria, they immediately will begin to package as much as they can package from them, turn them to Forex, and take them out of Nigeria. It's just like a monthly ritual. So Kolu believes that they can use the situation of Nigeria to get more money. And as they are getting the more money, they are sharing them. They're not putting them inside your economy. They are not. And I don't even know how to explain that to you for that to make sense to you. You cannot borrow money to go and do party. You cannot go and borrow money to go and marry another wife. You can't borrow money to go and build yourself a mansion that you are going to need to also service. That is not indeed yielding anything for you. You cannot borrow money to spend. You borrow money because you are going to actually, because you can turn it around, all right, into something productive so that you pay back the money, you pay back the interest, and your investments still remain. There's nothing wrong in loans. But when you borrow it because you want to use it to fund the lifestyle of the rogues, and you are telling the people that you are working day and night, you are inviting investors, you are inviting this and that to come and do businesses in Nigeria, but you are not presenting anything different that they are going to say, oh, this one is different. You are not. The world knows this. And if 6 months is not enough for you to see the difference positively of any government, you will never see the positive. And it's not because I don't wish you to see it. It is because this is not coming. It is a fluke. It's a fraud. Their actions have shown that they are going to spend more time on propaganda, on telling you what they are doing, that you should wait for them to conclude. Just give us more time. Just wait. Voodoo economy. So at the end of the day, you're going to stop. You're going to be tired of waiting. And then they're going to tell you that they have done so well. If not for them, your life would have been worse. Just same way Bokwari was telling you until he abandoned and then escaped there from your side. So if the people who knows the consequences of this, the women, the children, the aged, the vulnerable, the sick, the youth, who are victims of these failed people, these criminals, if those of you who knows they are victims, you should never join the bandwagon of those who want to keep them short, who want to complain about how they talk. Understanding all of the circumstances that brought everyone to this stage, right? So you shouldn't be hypocrite about it. Because when you are hypocrite about it, people can see through you. And it doesn't matter. There's nothing sacred about anybody. All of these old people who love to talk about age and respect, they should just go to hell. Because, how much has that really helped anyone this time around? If you are using it to blackmail us, how much has that helped anyone? It won't. So, the bottom line here is this. If they cannot keep their mouth shut, they shouldn't try to gaslight us, tag us, and then tell us that we don't know how to talk. We don't. It is not the internet. And that's one thing I also want to add. It is not the internet or internet culture that turned the young people to being rude. As a confessor would like to say, it is not the internet culture. And we are not illiterate. We are even more educated than majority of you would admit. Because majority of the things you don't want us to see, or you never believe that we will see or come across. A lot of us have come across them, and we are so disappointed that a lot of you older people lied to us about Nigeria, and you are still lying to us. And we understand why now. Sure you get. So we are not illiterate. We might be illiterate to all the lies you've told us, but we are not illiterate. And these generations are not reacting because of the internet culture. It is because we have discovered the charade, the lies. And we have discovered that your generation have no real respect for anybody. You don't have respect for yourselves. You have no respect for anybody. You have no regard. You are so entitled that some of you are parading archaic achievements, old glories that you've not been able to replicate or anybody replicating them after you. I became a professor. I was the first professor of kinetics in Nigeria in 1960. I was the first, it was the first female lawyer in 1921. Old glories. But look at the country that you have all you all grown old inside. Look at the shithole that you have managed to build as a country. You get what I mean? Old glory that can never be replicated, that has never been, they've never been really replicated. So we are not illiterates. And we are not influenced by the internet culture. We just feel so sad that it took this long for majority of you to unravel. And disrespecting those who have disrespected us for so long, all our lives. Those who didn't give a damn about us, your friends. So they are the reasons why we talk the way we talk. Tell them, oh, it is not the internet that influences you. You are not an illiterate for understanding what Nigeria truly means. Everything else you have read, everything else you have been punished for not following because of Nigeria they have all been lies. And that should be painful and sad. And if you are reacting because of that, if you decided that no sacred cow or no sacred place or no sacred person, if somebody decided to want to play on your intelligence because they want a signature, a literature laureate for some books that this generation probably will never read. You understand? If they decided to use that to rub it on your face and say, I've been a pastor for 25 years. Pastor. You get what I mean? If they decided to want to play on your intelligence, don't let them do that to you. Do you get? Because this is a bunch of failed generation that are so irresponsible that even when their failures are staring them on the face, they would rather find something else to blame. The generation that enjoyed quality education, when the society will put money, the resources together and send them on, international scholarship, well, local scholarship to go and study abroad, where people could do that and count on them that they will come back good. They all came back as a disaster. They destroyed Nigeria. And Soyinka was talking about Nigerians abroad, Nigerians all over the world, in science and this and that. A deluded old man who is still living in his own deluded, warped mind. And he decided to think, living on those old glories, where those Nigerians who have left Nigeria are doing better, when they leave Nigeria. You get what I mean? A lot of them that you are trying to plug them from everywhere. Oh, the number one scientist that, carried out the first safely separated conjoined fetus in their mother's womb and safely delivered a Nigerian man in New York. Ask those who are doing the same medicine in Nigeria what their lives are like, what they are facing in a rotten system, a system that continues to do everything to frustrate them and turn them to sadistic animals as well. Oh, look at this Nigerian just developed a great software that he just sold to Facebook. Oh, a Nigerian just developed a massive software that does blah, 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 and he just sold it to Tesla, and he just got paid 1.5 billion. Oh, look at this Nigerian, he's the world's greatest boxer. He was born in Nigeria and he was born in the UK, raised by Nigerian parents. When those who can actually excel in that category, like I'm saying this because many of those they want to pluck and say they are proudly Nigerians are not in Nigeria. Unfortunately, they never achieve all those things until they left Nigeria, because the criminals in Nigeria, the ruined institutions in Nigeria continue to destroy the future, the lives, aspiration, and dreams of so many Nigerians inside Nigeria. And then you see them as we have Nigerians educated. If you go to London, if you go to Harvard, if you go to Oxford, you see Nigerians who are educated. That is a Wole Soyinka, who is also a friend to the criminals who are currently breeding 22 million out of school children. He's not alarmed by that. Now, if you now say, now go kill all of these people. Now shall go kill them. These mad people. Look at the out of school children. I hate these people. You useless people. And all of that, they will say, look at the language you are using. Internet is influencing you to react like that. Don't let anybody gaslight you that way. Do you understand? And don't worry. If this is your first time on Mayegun's Diary Political, that's how we do it, okay? Especially on the Sunday sermon. I can go here, go there, pick story there, and then come back to something that you may sit down there and be like, okay, this is so much. Or you won't leave without understanding the point of the conversation. The point of the conversation is that your reactions to what is going on in Nigeria right now, how you react is legit. Curse them, abuse them, fire them, use any language you want. You are reacting to the failure of the criminals who are doing everything to sniff life or snuff life out of you. And if your voice is what you still have right now and they are uncomfortable with it, let's see how they're going to be when you begin to even use more than your voice to go after these criminals. Somebody said that NSAS was not announced. It was impromptu. Nobody was ready for it. And what's going to hit Nigeria that's going to be worse than NSAS is also not going to announce itself. I said, that is fine. When they push you, you will react. And they have no right to tell you how you should cry. You can't beat a child. And at the same time tell him, how to cry. So if Professor Wole Soyinka indeed wants people to have a reading culture, a lot of people have seen that those who didn't go to school, they can easily forge a certificate and say they went to school. And there is nothing anybody can do about it. Okay? If you are involved in crime and you go into politics in Nigeria, all you have to ensure you do is to make sure that you do everything within your power to gain power. Once you have the access to power, it doesn't matter anymore. And the likes of CORNFESSOR Wole Soyinka cannot continue to tell the citizens that the way they react to the way the criminals are governing them is their fault. It's not your fault too. And it will never be your fault, especially if you have been those who have been speaking out and always speaking out, like myself. So thanks for coming to the TED Talk tonight. I will see you some other night. And we should begin to take our course back from tomorrow. Listen, I was having a chat here with the leaders of the Yoruba Union today. And in our deliberation, because we are kind of like taxing ourselves, pulling our resources together to get some things, sort of finalized and done when our members can begin. Like you can voluntarily now go onto the yorubaunion.org and register as a member, get your membership number, and sign up for your own membership monthly dues and all of that thing that you would normally do. That we intend to, so we decided to kind of pull our resources together in doing that. And we're having a chat around how people now see Nigeria, especially after this whole charade in this 2023. I said, I don't know how or what really led to that kind of a spark and change when Obi and the obedient sort of gave a lot of people the inspiration to want to give Nigeria another shot. Maybe they can save Nigeria. Sure, you get, like, I don't know how they managed to. But immediately the rigging and the whole thing was concluded and you are where you are today, that I have noticed that a lot of people, maybe it's just on my platform anyway, a lot of people have gotten to a stage that they can talk about Nigeria, they can mingle with other people and talk about this, but they don't want their penny or anything. They don't want to have anything to do with anything Nigeria anymore. And I can tell you this, it is not just on Mayegun's diary political. It is actually general. I don't know why. But I kept kind of linking it to that of the aftermath of the charade. A lot of you are so disappointed that even if they show you somebody who is about to die of hunger, with your church mind and godly mind, something is still going to make you want to ask. Let us ask the person where they supported. A lot of you still want to know who they voted for, even though you didn't participate in the election and all that too. But you are so pissed at all you've seen. And even though we might say the APC, rig or rig there, but there are actually people who put their lives on the line to ensure that APC regains power. No matter the situation they are going through, no matter the hardship they are going through, they actually wanted APC and they did everything with their power to make sure that APC is what you have in Nigeria today. Sure you get. So, and there are so many of you who just couldn't really deal with that. And you would rather just look at them and be like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just don't feel comfortable giving any help to anybody. I understand. I just thought I should acknowledge that. And a lot of them agreed with me. They say, well, it's true. If not because we have been drawn into this and we decided that we are going to really do this. Mayegun, I promise you, even this Yoruba Union, honestly speaking, it's still like the indirect way of helping the people that will continue to defend their oppressors. And they are even willing at the last minute, when their oppressors give them money and give them weapons to go after those who have been helping them. When these criminals have used and dumped them, they will do it. If they are told to attack us, they will attack us. If they are told to kill us, they will kill us. I said, I know. Is that not why we call it a voluntary? It is voluntary in a way that we decided to use a carrot and stick approach. The carrot there is we offer an olive branch. The stick there is the truth that we are bringing. We know it has been a generational conditioning, but sometimes they also want people to genuinely give them an alternatives and minutes. We might not have the resources to do that in a way, but we still strongly believe that, it could change 1, 2, 3. If we can change one, the mind of one, we can change the mind of 10. And if we can change the mind of 10, we can change the mind of 10,000. And if we can change the mind of 10,000, maybe we can change the mind of 10 million. The idea is that every step, 1,000 mile or 1,000 mile journey, we always start with a step, but it is not encouraging. Even me, myself, I sometimes feel like, should we just kind of hand off, suspend all this, and just and wait patiently for when the people finally get to that stage of fighting back. But there's something that came to my mind that changed my mind. And it was, it is this, right? There were those who believed that they were fighting for democracy. Some of them died fighting the military for democracy to come in Nigeria. But when it was time for the democracy to come, majority of them were not interested. They didn't do it because they want to be politicians or they want to be this or that. So they left the place for the criminals who took over and led Nigeria 24 years to where we are today. Here you get. And I realized that even though they were asking for democracy, people didn't have the idea of what democracy was all about. They just wanted the military gone. So at the end of the day, they installed civilian dictatorship. And that's what Nigeria has been battling with. So if all of us are saying, let us break up Nigeria, and Nigeria is finally broken up, and all of you just felt like, that's what we wanted. We just made everybody, now we believe that Nigeria has broken up, then we can then face our country. But at the end of the day, you are not interested because you don't even have an idea the type of country you want if Nigeria breaks up. Here you get. So if you don't have the population who have the idea, charlatans will take the advantage of it. Because in power, there is no there's no room for vacuum in a game of power. So if you are planning for one day that a Yoruba nation is going to come, Biafra is going to come, you also need a country that reflects that Yoruba nation, right? You need a country that reflects, so you need the people living in a country that will reflect your nation, reflect your Biafra and all of that. You don't want a country filled with people with the same mentality that they are bringing from Nigeria, the mentality of grab it, snatch it, run with it. Sure, you understand now? So that's why the idea of the Yoruba Union, if you are talking about a Yoruba nation that others are also pushing for, then you should be able to educate the citizens who are going to champion it to understand the type of a Yoruba nation or region they want. So little and thankless, okay? So minute. We don't have that huge resources, okay? I've wanted to continue to raise funds here, but we've decided to do everything by ourselves behind the scene, get our membership verification set on, all other things that needed to be done after our registration and all that, get them done, and then begin to build it up slowly and slowly. Then I believe that if we do our work and our job very well, we can have an educated citizens. We have the people that will understand. If they say break it up and save lives, they are not just shouting a slogan. A slogan that says, that is more or less like the enemies we see today. We don't want to see them anymore. But you have no idea. Those who are willing to take over from them and even do worse to you. It is a thankless one, okay? But indeed, we are working very much on it. But like I said, sometimes I do feel like all these things show what, Sha. Just for those who usually ask me, Mayego, how do you do this or that? Yeah, sometimes I do feel like show what, Sha. And how long are we going to actually do this to get to a stage where we really have enlightened, educated minds that are not just going to know, they are going to be like, you know what I mean, weapon of mass destruction of the world that these criminals have created and forced us to live in. You know that? Those who are educated, so sound, intelligent, and they know what they want. They are the leaders in their own ranks. Those who knows that if you know better, you have to do better. And you cannot join the people who destroy the place in rebuilding the place. It is impossible. All they know is to destroy. All they know is to ruin. And all they know is to kill. They kill the dream. They destroy dreams. They destroy the people. You cannot rebuild your lives with them. So you need enlightened, educated. And when I say enlightened and educated, I'm not talking about those who can read and write. They have been the most accursed people in this generation. They are educated but not helpful. Their education has been a curse on them. They defend the oppressors. They condemn the oppressed. They do their best to gaslight the victims of the oppression, thinking one day they will be invited to the table and they can feed from the crumbs they are offering them. So if you indeed have been a crusader, that's one thing we have in mind as the Yoruba Unionists. It is a thankless job, and we are not promising anybody anything. We just believe that if you want something, then you must work for it. We have volunteered, and I hope you will join us, or you will start something, or join others who are doing something similar. okay? Instead of following the phrase of if you can't beat them, you join them. Don't join them. Join us. Call others. Let's team together and follow, beat them. Until then, you have a good night.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun diary Nayibi #1.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun diary Nayibi #1.
Mayegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú.
Mayegun diary Nayibi #1.
Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube.
Mayegun diary Nayibi #1.
Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí.
Mayegun diary Nayibi #1.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun diary Nayibi #1.
Bó bá ṣe eré àní Mayegun máa wí.
Mayegun diary Nayibi #1.
Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun diary Nayibi #1.
Mayegun diary politico.
Mayegun diary Nayibi #1.
Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun.
Mayegun diary Nayibi #1.
Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgbọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o.
Mayegun diary Nayibi #1.
Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun diary Nayibi #1.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lórí YouTube.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Presido bá rúfin o.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o, Mayegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀, Mayegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ̀. Oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní má ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀ kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀ ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kí. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kí. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
tẹnitẹni ọmọ Máyégún ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́hún sọ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. èèpo ọ̀bọ̀lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti dọba lórí abínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ fòyà àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o ó kó ẹni tó bá dán wò á kàmù. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì o ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kí. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kí. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.